Welcome to the source. The source. Source. Hey, get the source.
Yo, we're live. What's up? Can you turn my mic down a little bit? I'm spiking. Testing. Still spike. There we go. A little closer. Still a little. There we go. Perfect right there. What's up? Long time no see. Special shout out to Cleveland and Kansas City for cooking my under. It's the only bet I've had so far. 0-1. 0.75 units, though. I'm not going to let it get me down. Ain't nobody going to break my stride. Ain't nobody going to slow me down. Staying positive. We got like 115 WNBA games to get through. Nah, we have 5. I didn't even realize there was that many teams in the league. Waiting on Chris. So what's up? What do you guys want to talk about while we're waiting? Yeah. Yo, UCapper in the comments. I spy a UCapper. UCapper, not only do we need one more, we need one, period. UCapper. Where the hell? Oh, there he is. You could just put a text over the name too, like temporarily. Do you know what I am saying? Do you know what I am saying? Keep it positive. 36 WNBA games coming up, he said. Yo, what's up, man? Not much, just college football all week. It's that time. Week 1 now. Yeah, it's awesome. Very excited. It's also a little stressful because, I mean, as you can imagine, so much unpredictability in these games, and everyone's so excited, and I know everyone's gonna be like laying down big money.
Yeah.
That they probably shouldn't be laying down.
Yeah,
you know,
not right off the bat. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Cubs are still alive, gentlemen. I didn't bet the Cubs, but Toast did, so I'm rooting for them. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I don't know where Chris is, so let's go. He might be thinking it's 4, so he can come on and give a quick summary if you. So the first game up is Prop Beaver's getting the what do we got? Connecticut. Oh, CC's up first. Indiana coming off a loss. Did Caleb Clark get hurt in that game?
Not that I remember, no.
I thought I saw a clip of her like holding her.
She should be clear for this one.
Apparently she came back in the game, Andy just said. Yeah. So all right. So short this our graphic says +4 on both sides. It's obviously Connecticut -4, Indiana -4. Yeah. So UCapper. Any looks here?
Yeah, there's one way that I went with this one, and it was more so fading the Fever defense, because I know like throughout the season their offense was struggling to begin with, and then they started to figure it out, but their defense continues to struggle. And then if you look at like previous matchups, the Suns scored above the team total today, which I got it at 83.5, I think. They scored 92 in the first game, 88 in the second one, 89 in the last one. I mean, it's been a couple of months since then, but the Connecticut's offense has shifted a little bit since picking up Marina Mabrey, and even from the Olympic break, their pace has picked up since the beginning of the season. I think prior to the break, they were dead last in pace in the league, and since the Olympic break, they're 5th. The other thing to mention too, first in transition points per game, first in points off turnovers. So they forced the most turnovers per game since the Olympic break. And then the other piece is getting to the free throw line a ton too. So a lot of extra opportunities here for the Connecticut Sun to score. And also, the Fever, as good as they are offensively, they still turn the ball over at a super high rate. So everything to me was pointing towards Connecticut to get up and over that 83.5.
All right, and Chris joins. We're on the first game, Chris. So UCapper won with Connecticut team total over.
Hey, Kyle, am I late? I saw 4 o'clock.
I didn't realize there were 5 WNBA games. So I commented on the tweet 3:45, but it was only like an hour and a half ago. You might not have seen it. So
yeah, I didn't. Okay, I was gonna say my apologies for being late.
No worries.
Slight disagreement with RC here. I'm playing Indiana plus the points, and that's not the disagreement because I know he likes the team total up and over for the Connecticut Sun. But when I look deeper into this game, I saw Indiana. This has been their road. They're 8-5 straight up, 9-4 against the number at home this season, 8-1 straight up, and against the number since June 1st as well at the crib. And in 4 of those 9 games, they were dogs. They won all of them outright. They beat the Storm and the Liberty in this spot as well. They've been excellent in games within 2 possessions. So I looked that up as well. 11-4 straight up and against the number when they're getting less than 4 points or 4 points or less. And a perfect 7-0 when the line is within 5. So if they're not like catching 6 points or 7 points, or they're not supposed to get blown out, they've been covering in every one of those games. If you look at the Suns' offense since they got Marina Mabrey and they did that trade, if you take away the Wings game where they went up and over 100 points, which everybody's seeming to do except the Aces, the offense hasn't looked that elite at all. They're averaging just 73 points in those 4 games, shooting 41% from the field, 22% from the three-point line. I'm not buying what Connecticut is selling quite yet. And the Fever, I looked at them in triple revenge spots because I know I keep betting against them in this spot and they keep burning my money. Fever 2-0 straight up, 2-0 against the spread. This is the time when they beat the Liberty and they beat the Storm outright in those games. They were getting 10.5 and 4, which is what the line is today. So I'll take the Fever. I think they can win the game outright, even though the defense typically struggles. They're playing a lot better at home.
All right, so not really on the opposite side. Technically, you could both cash here, just a high-scoring game. So let's move on to game number 2. It's a load. I'm going to pick out a WNBA bet to place tonight.
Let's do it.
Washington on the road at Chicago. Another game where both sides are plus 2.5. Andy's on fire today.
No, that was me. That was me. All blame is on me for that one.
Oh, Prop Beaver's taking the blame. What a noble gesture.
No,
all right.
He's such a noble guy.
Yeah.
Some goober
I
shit by
believe
me.
Washington is Washington favored?
Washington's favored, yeah.
On the road in Chicago?
Only because of the Kennedy Carter's not playing. They had like a team bug go through yesterday, and they had to like abruptly cancel practice, and they like all wearing masks to warm up, and it's a lot going on in this game, which is why I like the under. I'll just start with that. I think Washington can win it, but I do like the under. Kennedy Carter already rolled out. That's 17.5 points, 41% shooting, 3.5 assists, subtracted from an already struggling Chicago team. They're struggling offensively. The Sky are 9th offensive rated and dead last in scoring at just 76.5 points per game in their last 5. And Chicago also ranks dead last in points off turnovers, 11th in fast break points, and over their last 5 games. So I just think it's going to be difficult for them to score. I look at the Mystics. Shakira Austin is also ruled out, but they've been a little bit, feistier on the defensive end. I would give Shakira Austin some of that credit, but also Brittany Sykes being back in the lineup. Washington's offense hasn't looked that good. It's been more their defense. They just held Seattle to 74 points in Seattle. And Washington actually ranks dead last in offensive rating and 11th in scoring, just 76.4 points per game in their last 5. And they're bottom 5 in the league in points off turnover, second chance points. Add in the fact that Chicago ranks dead last in pace over the last 5 games. I don't see a lot of points here, so I'll take the under. I grabbed it at 159.5.
That sounds like solid reasoning. Okay, I'll consider that. Does is Ronald about to co-sign it?
Actually, initially I was looking towards the under when Kennedy Carter was ruled out, but then Shakira Austin was ruled out too. And, obviously the paint defense is going to struggle there because Mystics are going to be without also Maisha Hines-Allen, who got traded. So their depth up front in the front court is limited. And that's where the Sky live, right? Although they don't make their layups at a high rate.
I was going to say, so this is going to be a volleyball, right?
Yeah, they don't make their shots at a high rate within the paint, but they're going to get a whole bunch of opportunities, a lot more rebounds especially too. So, if you're looking from a prop perspective, Reese rebounds is definitely going to be there. I don't care what number it is. It could be like 16 or some shit like that. But for the most part, a lot of opportunities within the paint. But also the Mystics, they shoot the 3 ball at a pretty decent rate. They're not hitting it at a high rate, but I think the Sky perimeter defense, especially without Carter, is going to struggle, right? And then I know the Mystics play a much faster pace as well, and then it probably going to be a little bit faster without Shakira Austin as well. So because they're just going to be running back and forth, and then their big is a 3-point shooter, so they're going to pull Cardosa out, and we know if the Sky is going to score in the paint, if the Mystics are going to shoot threes, there's like no defense from either of these teams that's going to happen. So I wanted to look towards the over here, but for the most part, Mystics I would think would win this game outright. The money line was 115 minus 115 yesterday, but the line has shifted a little bit, so it's probably gonna be like 140 or some shit right now.
All right, so leaning towards the Mystics as well. Angel Reese over rebounds. All right. Poppy was putting it on the screen now. Don't even worry. I mean, might as well put it up for a second so everyone could see it.
Listen, I'm a man of great prowess. I like to show the colors.
I know. We just have 5 to get through.
Be honorable again.
Mystics money line
no,
plus.
and honestly, no. Here's the issue. First one I actually messed up. Second one on action, both sides did show plus 2.5 as the best odds. And for some reason, for the WNBA, they don't respect the woman. Disgusting action by action. They don't have the consensus line. They only have the best odds, and best odds was plus.
Well, what you just typed is minus 140 instead of
no.
plus.
I'm talking about for the.
No, I know,
plus
but you just typed it incorrect.
What do you mean? It's minus 140?
Yeah, Washington's
Yeah, minus 140 because the Mystics are favored. Yeah.
Action on action was a good one, though. Probably
tries to blame it on action, just types it wrong himself. Let's go to the next one.
All right.
Minnesota Phoenix. Mercury catching 4 points at home. Is that through? Cubs just took the lead in the 9th inning.
Hey, Toast going crazy.
Yeah, Toast is going crazy somewhere.
like somebody just graduated from college.
Cubs just took the lead. All right. Who did I say? Minnesota on the road at Phoenix. A Mercury money line here?
Man, I don't know. I didn't. This is the one game I didn't bet on, and because I can't bet against the Lynx right now with how they're playing. Offensively, they're playing really well. They're deep. Their team is deep. Not dealing with a lot of injuries. Their defense is really solid too. They picked up another forward, Maisha Hines-Allen from the Mystics. So their defense on the bench is it has improved as well. And the pace is really low for both of these teams coming out of the Olympic break. 9th in pace for the Lynx, dead last for the Mercury. So maybe an underlook. But from a side perspective, the spot should be for the Mercury. But I think the Lynx, man, there's just no way that I could bet against them at this point right now. A couple of things to think about for both of these teams. The mid-range is something that both teams pretty mid-range and within the paint is where they're really efficient, but they don't take a lot of attempts there for the Mercury. So it's going to be a game flow that I can't really predict right now because of how they play against each other throughout the season, historical matchups. I think they split, right? I think it's 2-1. I think for the Minnesota. So this could be a way for the Mercury to even up the matchup 2-2. This is the most confusing game for me. Spot says Lynx, but Spot says Mercury, but Lynx is just so good right now. I can't go against them.
Chris,
I'll go against them. Give me Minnesota minus the 4.
Damn it!
I'll take the red hot team. Perfect 5-0 straight up and against the spread since the Olympic break. All of their wins coming by double digits. I look at the Mercury, and it really starts with how much slower they're playing. I'm not sure why they're playing so slow, but I think when we look back in totality at this spot, it's just a difficult 2-game stretch, back-to-back stretch. I mean, you just played the Liberty, which is probably the best team in the WNBA. But if they're not, then the Lynx are the best team in the WNBA. So I was scared to fade them the other night. I do think Minnesota is that good. It's also a revenge spot for Minnesota. If we go back to before the Olympic break, the Minnesota Lynx lost on a Kalia Copper buzzer beater from the right corner off a pick set by Brittany Griner. And so you got a little bit of revenge here. Phoenix 3-1 straight up and against the spread in those revenge games this season. They've won all those by double digits as well. So I like Minnesota. I think you get a cheap price with them only having to win by 2 possessions here.
All right, still haven't found my bet. I'm zeroing in on it though. Next game. Oh, here we go. Atlanta Dream defense travels. Tell me this is a bad spot for Seattle. Say some shit like that. Is it a bad spot for Seattle?
Go ahead, RZ.
Not, I don't think it's a bad spot for Seattle. I think it's actually a bad spot for Atlanta. Traveling to Seattle. Last time they went to Seattle, they only scored 70 points. Seattle's coming off of a home loss. And when they go from a home loss and then are a home favorite in this situation, they've actually won both instances by double digits. And then I think opponents only averaging, 67 points per game in those spots as well. They tend to bounce back pretty strong, and usually it's on the defensive side of the ball. I know that Seattle's defense is a lot better than what they've shown in the last couple games here. So I think they bounce back on their side. I think it's a Atlanta team total under or Storm spread. That would be the way that I go on this one. I think like I said, defense. You mentioned defense travel, so if you expect Atlanta's defense to travel with them, maybe the full game under. But I think there's a way that Seattle can blow this team out from a 3-point shoot, either 3-point shooting, bouncing back, because I mean typically they shoot a lot better than what they are. But mid-range and all that stuff, everything on the offensive side of the ball, the Storm have the advantage of.
Cubs just scored again, by the way. It's now 12-10 Cubs. I want to bet Atlanta money line. Chris, tell me something.
I can't tell you the bet Atlanta money line. The other thing, this is true as well, Kyle. And RC didn't mention this. Alicia Gray is also listed as questionable. That's a lot. Like if you look back at Atlanta recently, that's why they haven't been able to win a game like in their last few, is because they've been struggling to score the basketball. 11th offensive effective field goal percentage over the last 5 games. And if you're going to take out their starting shooter, one of their starting shooting guards, it's not going to look good for this team. I think Seattle's going to be really, really motivated in this spot, coming off that home loss, like RC said, against the Washington Mystics the other day. The problem I had with getting to the window here is Seattle keeps burning my money. I'm just like throwing it down the toilet. They failed to cover 6 straight games. But to RC's point, Atlanta has played every game after the Olympic break in Atlanta. So they're traveling from Atlanta, the bottom part of the East Coast, all the way to Seattle, the top part of the West Coast. It says that they probably run out of gas here, and if I'm playing, I'm laying, but I'm not playing this one because Seattle continues to burn my money. I like to watch the Mystics in the last game, and they couldn't get the job done there. If Alicia Gray doesn't play, I do think that look towards the team total to go under is a really good look. Even though Seattle lost that game to Washington as a double-digit favorite the other day, they still held Washington under their team total. It's been their offense that hasn't been able to score, but the total seems about right too at 157. So the books aren't projecting it to be a high-scoring game at all.
Yeah, I think if you were looking towards the under, you would probably key in on the first half, because if you look at the Dreams' first half numbers, especially as road dogs, 7-0-1 to the under in the first half, and then Storm on the season have been an under team 20-9 to the under in the first half. So just situationally, first half under probably the way to look specifically.
Atlanta money line plus 320 on Caesars. Helms is with me. Helms is with me right here. So we've been saying the Storm going to bounce back for a week now. Give me the points. Let's go. I don't need the points though, Helms. Come on, Helms. Spine up.
Let's like the spicy one.
Let's see if you got a backbone here, Helms.
Like you're gonna take a dog today, Kyle.
The other thing, Kyle, too, this is their second game at home since the break. All their first 3 games were on the road. Gabby Williams played her first game with the squad last game.
She'll be more acclimated. Yep.
Yeah, so she'll be.
This ain't the one, Kyle.
Yeah.
Fine.
This ain't the one.
Yeah.
All right. Next.
If you
one.
like a dog, Kyle, I know you like dogs. Take the Indiana Fever. I gave you a great breakdown on the Fever. They continue to win as dogs. 4-0 in their last 4. As a home dog.
Take the Fever as a dog. All right.
Yeah.
I'll consider it.
Take the Sparks.
Hell no.
I'm ready to hear a case for the Sparks money line.
Not money line.
It's gonna be a long show. We're just gonna sit in
silence.
silence.
So the Sparks plus 13.5. We know the Liberty. I mean, typically this season they've struggled as double-digit favorites. I think they're just 2-12 or 3-12 ATS for double-digit favorites. But I think the other thing to mention too, this is a clear sandwich spot, right? Before the Mercury, or after the Mercury, before the Storm. I mean, the Sparks. I mean, obviously they don't have much to play with, but the Liberty, they're gonna. I mean, their defense has been really solid, but they're not gonna have to do too much offensively to win this game here. This is definitely to me a letdown spot. A look ahead to the Storm. And I think if you look at from a spread perspective, other than that game after the Olympic break, the first game after, I mean, the Sparks have stayed within the number, right? They've covered both times earlier prior to that. I don't know what happened in that first game after the break. The Liberty scored 103 to Sparks 68, but that's not going to happen again. Historically, what I've seen, so I looked at in-season revenge, where the team lost by like 30 points or whatever it might be. It's like 6-1 ATS and 7-0 to the team total under. The way that I was looking at was the Liberty team total under, because another thing to mention is when they beat a team by 20 prior to this season, in season, whatever you want to call it, like they beat them by 20 in the previous matchup. They're 0-5 ATS under their team total in each one of them. They're just going to let off the gas pedal, not really care, and do enough just to win the game so that they can get by and get to the Storm team, where they're going to be traveling to Seattle. Second game on the road, cross country as well. And we talked about this in the NBA, Chris, and the coaches mentioned this a lot too. That second game, cross country travel, is where the jet lag happens. And that's this game here against the Sparks. So I don't think it's a money line bet on the Sparks, but plus 13.5 or even a Liberty team total under. Those would be the ways that I look in this one.
Chris?
It's so interesting. I didn't think this was going to turn into a Sparks, show, but first half is what I like. I think, I took a win season total under for the Sparks before they lost to the Wings the other day. And I think that there is a way that they could potentially tank this game. Maybe they do score a little bit more in the fourth quarter, but I do think that they're clearly tanking. I think we saw it in the last game. They're the worst fourth quarter offense in the league by far since returning from the break. I mean, they're averaging like 16 points. They got outscored 40-18 to lose by 3 to the Dallas Wings on purpose just a couple days ago. And they lost to the Liberty 3 times already this season. And the most recent one, like RC said, was by 30. But they played very well early in games. 18-12 against the number in the first half. 5-1 in the first half against the number since the Olympic break. Whereas you got a Liberty team, like RC said, they coming off a big win against the Mercury. They got a big look-ahead game against Seattle, second game of a third-game road trip, and they only 5-8 in the first half as a road favorite this season. So I think if I want the Sparks at all, I definitely want them early because they could just fade. Kurt Miller might just pull everybody and try to get people from Crypto.com Arena to play in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter, because he does not want to be close to winning the game. So I like the Sparks early in this one. First half plus 7.5 is if I had to play it.
Sparks first half plus 7.5. All right, clear their names out so they can see these guys' Twitter names. That's Crispy Captain on the right with 2 N's, UCapper Sports on the left. They both have their own daily YouTube shows. Chris is in the morning. UCappers is about 2 hours before mine in the afternoon. So be sure to give these guys a follow. I tagged them. I'll tag Ronald in the tweet too. He jumped in the comments, said, hey, need somebody? So I'll tag him in the tweet too so you guys can follow him. Thanks for joining, guys.
Appreciate you, guys. Best of luck, RC. Best of luck, fellas.
All right. Let's get Toast, a.k.a. Chicago Cubs legend, on the screen. What a top of the ninth. Hold on, let's get him on the screen first. What a top of the ninth, huh, there?
Woo! Woo! Happy Skeens Day, everybody. Happy Skeens Day.
Woo! As a fucking nut.
Happy Skeens Day. You even Shipley has been riding Skeens for 3 months, literally and figuratively, and you even turned him. Even Shipley was on the Cubs today.
Actually, Shipley was even better than the Cubs. Shipley had Pirates first 5 money line, Cubs money line at plus fucking like 1,300. So Shipley's on a heater. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Shipley's on a heater.
All right. Shall we talk some seam? Oakland, Cincinnati up first. I was leaning Reds yesterday. Thank God I didn't bet that one because they ended up losing 5-2. Hasn't Beto been pretty good?
He has been pretty good. I have almost a full unit on the Reds here today. I know. Hold on, let me pull in the lineups up really quick. So yesterday, obviously, I know that Cincinnati lost yesterday 5-4. But Oakland did absolutely nothing 98% of that game. They had one good seventh inning where they did all their damage on Sandlin or whatever. But besides that, Oakland did absolutely nothing at the plate. You are correct. Vito has been good, but that still doesn't take away the fact for me that Oakland's offense is absolutely terrible. And I don't expect them to score much today. I will get to the Cincinnati starting pitcher in a second, but Oakland in their bullpen absolutely taxed to hell. Mason Miller, 2 of the last 3 days, 31 pitches yesterday. Ferguson 27 yesterday, 2 of the last 3 days. Holman 2 of the last 3 days as well. And you're looking at a Reds bullpen that's essentially rested and ready to go with your top 3 arms. The Reds are going to be starting a rookie today. His name is I can't think of his name now. It starts with an L. I did a whole bunch of research on the last hour. So he's like the Reds' second prospect. Again, it's mostly a bullpen day. I think he's going to go 3 or 4 innings. You're going to see a little bit of Casey Kelly today. It doesn't really matter. You're going to see some Fernando Cruz probably today. It doesn't really bother me. I just feel like this price is a little bit too short with the Reds at home. I know that they haven't been playing well, but like I said, Oakland on the road is a kind of a fade for me, not to mention the fact that I feel like their yesterday's score was kind of blown up because of one bad inning. So I'll take my chances with the Reds at minus 120 here.
No. Pass.
Rhett Lauder. That's the kid's name. God, that was bothering me.
Lauder?
Rhett Lauder. Yeah.
Okay. Next. Angels, Tigers. Shout out. Look, Johnny Cueto is truly the gift that keeps on giving. I hope he pitches until he's into his 60s. I mean, another game where I took minus 1.5, got plus 140. And when I say no research, I heard Johnny Cueto was pitching, went and placed the bet, and then after asked Toast who was pitching for the Tigers. Didn't even know. Like, by the way, who's on the mound? And it was a guy named Herder. Didn't care. I don't know why I even asked. Didn't matter. There was a couple people in the Discord a little nervous, like Cueto's dealing. I'm like, give it time. Give it time, Joe. Like, we're fine. I can't.
You don't know Johnny like I know
fine.
Johnny.
Yeah, he's a very predictable character. So here we are back in this series. Can Man's on the mound. Tigers aren't exactly loaded with lefties. Is there favorable weather for scoring runs here? Because I kind of would look towards the under.
Yeah. Good luck with that. Yeah. This game, I have no idea what to expect in this. I would say over or pass personally. For me, Griffin Canning, not only has he been terrible at home, I mean, he had one decent start against Seattle on the road, but the last 2 times he's seen the Tigers, once this year, once last year, 12 innings, 9 runs, 14 hits, just been really, really bad. This Tigers lineup has had Griffin Canning's number, to say the least. Tigers starting Mason Englert or something like that. He faced the Braves for like 2 innings last year. That's like he had a small cup of coffee as a starter, by the way. He did most of his stuff came in relief last year. He's pitched, I think, 2 innings this year or something like that. I don't even know. It's a small, very, very small sample size. Not 2 innings, sorry, 20 innings. But regardless, it's a small sample size. The Angels their offense isn't terrible. It's not like they're completely dead. I don't know. It's just a pure pass for me. I have no idea what to think of this one.
I kind of like the under. These lineups are trash. The Angels full bullpen rest. Put up Angels money line. I'm not betting this. I actually don't even care if you put it up. Next. Yankees, Washington. Shout out Corbin. In honor of Corbin, wore the hat. I said, do you believe or not? I believed. Well, actually, I guess I didn't bet it, so technically I didn't believe. But I put the logo up on the show. That's got to count for something. Corbin came through, blanked the Yankees. I've been telling you guys, this guy's a gamer. Cubs just officially won, by the way. Put it in the books. Yes.
And yes, I will get that Cubs tattoo. Just give it a week or so. I got to make an appointment, but I will do
You're getting a Cubs tattoo? Why is that?
Yeah. I said I would. They were down by 8.
Oh, my God. You said that? I didn't even see that.
I mean, I kind of said it as half-assed, but I have so many tattoos. I don't care. I'll make the appointment. I'm good.
All right.
Good story.
So why did I put Washington up yesterday? Yes, Patrick Corbin was pitching, but also he's a lefty. And you know who else is a lefty? Mackenzie Gore. So, I mean, Again, you would have to say the value is on Washington here at this price. Now, do I think Washington's going to beat the Yankees twice in a row? No, which is why I don't think I can actually put any money on this, but it would only be Washington at this price. I mean, I don't think you can lay this kind of juice against a lefty on the road with the Yankees right now. This is really expensive for a lineup that really hasn't been hitting lefties well in a long time. Even if Washington had a decent righty on the mound, even if Jake Irvin was pitching this one, I would take the Yankees -1.5 to bounce back, even with Irvin on the mound. But because it's a lefty, I can't do it. It would be Washington or under.
Yeah, it would be under 9 or first 5 under 4.5. I mean, I had the Yanks in a tiny parlay in the first 5 yesterday. I thought that Cole would pitch well. I felt like such an idiot like that. But anyway, again, this whole series has been the same thing. Under, and under. Like, the Yankees cannot hit left-handed pitching. The Nationals offense is, I mean, suspect at best. I mean, it's 4-2 and 5-2. I mean, and the runs came late in the game for the Yankees. They scored 2 in the 6th and 1 in the 8th the other night. So I would lean first 5 under at plus money or under 9 personally. Like, again, Rondon has been pretty decent. He had one bad start against Detroit, but again, Detroit's been playing really good baseball right now. So it's really hard. I know, like, seeing at Detroit, you're like, oh, geez, that must have been really bad because they're terrible. And I will give you that Detroit's not the best baseball team, but over the last month, Detroit's been playing good. So again, it's a knock against Rondon, but at the same time, over his last 7 starts, he's been pretty damn good. So again, I have a hard time believing that Washington gets to Rondon. And again, if Mackenzie Gore is finally going to start coming around after a really good performance at Atlanta, that's the only wild card for me is Mackenzie Gore, because you're rather going to get good Mackenzie Gore where you're going to get 5 or 6 innings out of him, or make 2, maybe 3 runs, or it's going to be 5 and a fourth, 4 or 5 and a third, or something like that with 5 runs. So again, I don't trust the Yankees versus lefties. It'd be under all the way for me, but I didn't bet it.
By the way, Jose Altuve stole home in the first inning. It's 1-0 Astros. Yep, next game. Blue Jays, Bo Sox, Bassett, Bayo. A lot of B's. I mean, rocking a hard place here. You either got to back Chris Bassett, who's been terrible, or the Red Sox bats who've been slumping. Pick your poison.
My poison would be Toronto. I didn't bet it. But there's one thing with Chris Bassett. He tends to show up against the Red Sox. I mean, 4 starts in the last 2 years against the Red Sox. Every one of them, he's going 6 or 7 innings, only giving up 2 runs or less. So he has had a lot of success against the Red Sox. I really want to play Blue Jays first 5. I still don't trust their bullpen. Having a little bit of buyer's remorse, I guess, from yesterday. Yeah, I really like that play yesterday. So to see Yariel Rodriguez give up 3 in the first and then 3 in the 5th, and then the Blue Jays bats not really come to life when they had a couple guys on, that really hurt. But like I said, I don't trust Chris Bassett in general, but when he pitches against the Red Sox, he pitches very well. His last 3 starts in Fenway, 21 innings, only 4 runs. He's pitched very well in this ballpark his whole career. So again, it'd be Toronto first 5. I wanted a little bit more than plus 105 or plus 110. I just don't really trust this Toronto team. But if I had to make a bet in this game, it'd be Toronto first 5. Probably going to regret that I didn't pull the trigger.
Let me check the weather real quick. Oh wow, it's not even favorable for runs in Fenway.
Yeah, I'm good on 10 mile an hour blowing in. That's another thing. That's why I'm like,
I'm good on this one.
Yeah, it's hard.
Shout out Braves. Yesterday I ended up placing 2 bets and I went 2-0. So like I wasn't even that paying attention to baseball. Just placed some bets based on what I heard on the show. Ended up going 2-0, and the Braves were the second leg of that 2-0. We got Chris Sale on the mound in Minnesota. How have the Twins been against lefties recently?
Their numbers look good, but they haven't seen a lot of them, especially like lefty starters in particular. Their numbers look good. Obviously, they just saw Max Fried, but before that, it was August 20th. They saw Perez. Before that, it was like the 15th and 16th when they faced the Rangers and their crappy lefties. And then prior to that, it was August 9th. So really not a ton of lefty starters that they're facing. I mean, they've seen some, don't get me wrong, but I played the Braves. I played the Braves on the money line. I feel like this number is ridiculous. And if I'm walking into a trap, so be it. But I've said that like 4 times the last 3 days, and I've won every single bet that I've said that on. So at this point, I don't really care. I'm just going to play the numbers and see what happens. But obviously, this Braves team, their lineup is doing something right now, right? They've scored 18 runs the last couple nights. They've given up 12. But now we have Chris Sale on the mound, who is the National League Cy Young Award winner, the favorite, and that's going to win. Has been pitching fantastic. Over his last 7 starts, 5 of them have been on the road. He's pitched well in all those. He's pitched well against this Minnesota lineup. He pitched well against Minnesota last year. He went 6 innings, 3 hits, and 1 run, and 11 strikeouts against this Minnesota team. And by the way, David Festa is only going 3, 4, 5 innings, maybe max. And then you have a Minnesota Bull in the last 4 days. Griffin Jack's 3 of the last 4 days. I just went over it on accident. Yeah. Griffin Jack's 3 of the last 4 days. They saw Alcara yesterday. Cole Sands has went 2 of the last 3 days. They saw Thibar yesterday as well. So again, I don't understand this price. It's even moved down. So I don't know. I got it at -130. I guess it's at, depending on where you get it. But again, I just felt like that price is extremely too short with this Braves team. Not to mention the fact that the Braves have everybody in their bullpen ready to go. I understand that Iglesias didn't look good last night, but again, he's been one of the best relievers in baseball the last year or so. So it's really hard for me to believe. And he had the previous 3 days off before that. So I bet you that Iglesias bounces back. Bummer hasn't worked in the last couple of days. Dylan Lee's only had 18 pitches the last 3 days. So I honestly, I mean, and you don't really have to worry about it as much with Sale, but the Atlanta bullpen is fine with me. So I feel like I have a starting pitching advantage. I feel like I have a bullpen advantage. And if you want to call the bats a wash, so be it. But yeah, I took Atlanta -130.
I like the other side. I like the Twins here. Sale hasn't been that untouchable recently. I mean, obviously he's been good, but he hasn't been that. He hasn't been
going 7 innings and giving up 2 runs. I don't understand.
10 base runners to the Nats at home. Before that, Angels, a little bit of production against them. He had a great start in San Francisco. Before that, Brewers got to him. I don't know. Festa's been pretty good, and the Braves bullpen is pretty taxed. I don't know what you're talking about here.
Who's not available?
Pierce Johnson, Dylan Lee, Jesse Chavez.
Oh no.
Iglesias, and put Twins money line up. I'll go head to head with you right now. I'll bet this right now. I like this.
Dope. Let's do it.
All right, hold on. All right, can go to the next game. Prop Beaver hates when I hold the show up to play.
Who's closing the game for the Twins again? I just want to know.
Tell you in 1 second. Probably Thielbar. Thielbar get it done.
All right. Yeah, that 5.45 ERA and that 92-mile-an-hour heater, just smashing fools.
It's about command. Let's go +116.
Touche. Jamie Moyer.
Not to mention the Braves against righties. I'm not like they've been hitting a little bit more recently, but Braves against righties haven't been the most consistent thing to hang your hat on this year.
Agreed, 100%.
So Twins +116. I'll be on my own little Twins island. And Twins. All right. You remember that? All right. What's the next game?
That's why I laughed. It's like one reference I got.
Padres Cards. Man, this is another one where I dodged a bullet. I said I like the Cardinals on the show. Ended up passing, and the Padres got it done. Let me just share that to the Discord real quick. Not that anyone, they'll all be telling toast, not me on that one. I'll be on my own island. All right, anyway, I'm sorry. Padres, Cardinals, Musgrove, Palante. Palante's good against lefties or righties. I know he has sizable splits, righty-lefty, but I can't remember which.
Hold on, I'm literally pulling it up right now.
He's very good against...
He's very good against lefties.
Yo.
The righties can get to him.
Well, the Padres have all lefties.
Yeah, it'd be under or pass for me in this game. You just mentioned it. Padres have a whole bunch of lefties, not to mention the fact that Palante's been pitching pretty damn well. I mean, he had a bad start against Grimace, and besides that, over his last 6 or 7 starts, he's been pretty damn good. On the road at Minnesota, 7 innings, 1 run. At home against the Dodgers, 7 innings, 2 runs. On the road at Kansas City, 5 2/3, 1 run. At home against Texas, 5 innings, 3 runs. On the road at Pittsburgh, 6 innings, 1 run. So Again, I don't expect Palante to get absolutely throttled here at all. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm almost positive, that St. Louis has a full rested bullpen. Yeah, full rested bullpen behind him for St. Louis. And then on the other side, Joe Musgrove, who's been a godsend for the Padres since coming back. I mean, pitching extremely well. The issue is that, the issue is that I don't know how long he's going to go into this game. He just pitched a 7-inning performance against the Mets, absolute masterclass. My issue with that is the previous 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 starts, he was going 4 innings. 5 was a big number for Joe Musgrove. So after a 7-inning performance, unless he's like fully stretched out and healthy, I don't know how much we're going to get out of him as far as length is concerned. I know I'd make it the point every day that I'm on the show that the Padres have the best bullpen in the Major League Baseball, and I stand by that 100%. The issue is they're taxed. They're taxed to hell. Suarez didn't work yesterday, but Tanner Scott 3 days in a row, Jason Adam 2 of the last 3 days, Estrada, Hoeing 2 of the last 3 days, Matsui went 18 yesterday. The Cardinals saw Maury Hone for 28 pitches the day before that. I just don't love the spot for the Padres in the bullpen situation. That being said, I don't really love the Cardinals offense. So again, under 8.5 for me. I did not play it because of the Cardinals situation, or because of the Padres bullpen situation, and into the fact that it's like probably 90 degrees in St. Louis today. So that usually means ball flies a little bit better, runs come. So
wind's blowing in though.
If it's 8 though, I would definitely an under, because I had it at 8.5. So if it's moving down, I would definitely play 8 or under 8.
Yeah, under sounds good. It's the second lowest on the run index, weather, ballpark, barometric, whatever pressure. Next.
You can get an 8.5 on ESPN bet at -125. That's probably your best situation.
Next game, please. Giants on the road in Milwaukee. Steady Freddy on the mound. Toast, are you done with the that Kyle Harrison trend?
Yeah. I played over 7.5. I don't understand how this number is 7.5.
There's a retractable roof here. Just so you know.
I do. So again, I just feel like this number is a little bit short. Freddie Peralta's looked pretty decent his last 2 starts. Against a Cleveland team that we know can't hit right-handed pitching, and against a St. Louis team that really doesn't scare you either. I'll give you the fact that the Giants don't really scare you either, but he did face the Giants last year at home in Milwaukee. He went 2 1/3 innings, gave up 8 hits on 10 runs. There were some errors in there, so only 4 of them were earned, but regardless, he looked absolutely terrible. In his previous before that Cleveland start, his previous home starts against Miami, Atlanta, and the Dodgers, he looked absolutely terrible. I guess Atlanta, he was all right, but they ended up losing that game anyway. So it doesn't really matter. And then Kyle Harrison on the road has just been an absolute fade. The only time that he looks good on the road is when he's facing a Colorado team. But besides that, it's been really, really bad. 4 against Cleveland, 4 against Arizona. The Mets slaughtered him. Again, he looks decent against Colorado. Miami got to him. So again, I don't understand why this number is at 7.5. It's because of Peralta's on the mound, and I guess maybe because Kyle Harrison's been pretty decent, but I just felt like that number is way, way too low.
I think it's at 8 now.
Is it?
The graphic says 8, so it is. It's So it's up at 8 now. Nothing for me here. Next up. Marlins. We got 2 baseball games left. Marlins, Rockies, Meyer versus Freeman. That means, Charles is betting the Marlins here because Max Meyer is, quote, his guy. So he's Marlins. This is one I wish I bet. I said I liked the Marlins on the show yesterday, and then in like the 6th inning, it was like 8-2. And I was like, well, thank God I didn't bet the Marlins. They ended up winning 9-8, so would have won this one. That being said, I would lean the other way and go back to Colorado here. I had Colorado in the first game of this series, so I've picked both games right in this one. I would finish it. Oh, it's a road getaway day, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
Hold on, let me see where they're.
Nope. They play tomorrow morning.
So Rockies today, Marlins tomorrow.
I can't really argue that. I didn't play the Rockies just because of their bullpen situation. Kinley, their top 3 arms, I know they don't care about the names, but their top 3 arms are not only used back-to-back days, but pretty high pitch counts as well. So really hard to get behind them, knowing that the Rockies are like absolutely terrible in the later innings. But if you wanted to play a Rockies first 5, I wouldn't hate that. Max Meyer hasn't looked good at home or on the road at all. 6 innings, 3 runs against the Cubs at home. He went on the road against the Mets, gave up 4 in 4 innings. On the road at Atlanta, he gave up 4. On the road in Milwaukee, he gave up 3 in 4 innings as well. And Kyle Freeland, on the other hand, doesn't have like fantastic numbers, but at the same time, like his last couple home starts against the Mets, the Braves, the Padres, and the Giants. I mean, those are significantly better teams than the Marlins are. So the Marlins did absolutely nothing last night, by the way, too. They scored 5 runs in the 9th inning. So again, I think that the Colorado's the right side here today. I would play them in the first 5 if you do. I still might add them. I was kind of going back and forth. I was kind of to decide what I wanted to play and what I didn't. But Rockies' first 5 run line would be the best bet if I had to make it.
All right. And there's actually we have 2 more baseball games before college football. For some reason, it's out of order in the graphic in the bottom left. So we have Mets, Diamondbacks, and we'll do that one first. And then do you see that? The college football game is above the Dodgers game for some reason in there. So you'll have to skip one and come back to. Oh, never mind. It looks right here. Whatever. All right. Would you go back to Grimace? Oh, no, it's Severino.
I went right back to Grimace at plus money.
No, it's a righty.
I don't care. It's Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound. Mets money line for me. Severino's looked just fine his last couple starts. 15 total innings, only 1 run. One of them was against Miami. The other one was against the Padres. I have a feeling that he works off of those couple performances. He's been really, really good for the Mets. He had a 3-start period against Minnesota, Colorado, and Seattle where he wasn't good, but he picked right up, like I said, those last 2 starts. And the ones before that against Atlanta and Miami, he was just fine. I know that Arizona got to him earlier in the year at home, but I still think, here's my thoughts on this. Everybody knows Arizona's really good against righties. Everybody knows that Severino hasn't been great on the road 2 of his last 3 starts, and yet this number is still super short for the Diamondbacks. It just doesn't make sense to me. I think that the Mets have the bullpen. I think if you want to give the starting pitching advantage to the Diamondbacks, sure, that's fine. But I feel like I have a pretty significant bullpen advantage with the Mets, and I feel like the bats are at least a wash because the Mets are hitting right now. I understand they've had a couple of 2s and 0s, but they also have a lot of 8s, 7s, 4s, and 5s out there their last 10 games as well. So I honestly think this is a wash. I think the Mets are playing just as well right now as the Diamondbacks. Like I said, the Diamondbacks have been playing really, really well this month. They're 15-5 their last 20, but they're also 6-4 their last 10, with 3 of those wins being against the Marlins. So keep in mind, the Rays made them look stupid, and then they got a couple wins against Boston, which keep in mind, Boston's been not only terrible at home, they haven't been hitting at all either. So I'm just really not as impressed with what Arizona's been doing the last 10 games as I am with the Mets, who have played Arizona, the Padres, Baltimore, and then the Mets got an easy one with Miami. So again, I think the Mets have been playing a stronger schedule. They've been performing just as good, if not better. So to get them at plus money, I have 0.75 units on the Mets.
I wouldn't fade Arizona with a righty. It would be Snakes for me here. They kill right-handed pitching, so Snakes or over. But I think the Snakes will hit up Severino. All right, last baseball game. Corbin Burns. Wow, it's a good one. Corbin Burns, yeah. Walker Buehler. Dodgers got handled last night.
Yeah, kind of. If I would have known that they were going to sit Gavin Lux and Freddie Freeman, I probably wouldn't have bet the Dodgers, to be honest with you. I probably would have bet the Orioles, but it is what it is. Give me a second. I played over 8.5 here at -112. Corbin Burns, I know that his name brings out a lot of value to some people, but let's just take a look at what he's done the last 5 starts. 5-2 at home, 5 2/3, 8 hits, 6 runs against Houston. At home against Boston, 10 hits, 8 runs in 4 innings. On the road at Tampa Bay, 6 innings, 3 runs. On the road at Cleveland, 5 innings, 4 runs. He was decent against Toronto. On the road at Miami, 7 innings, 3 runs. I think that the Dodgers offense is still back. I understand they didn't score very many runs last night. I get that. But at the same time, it was a lefty. And like I said, Gavin Lux and Freddie Freeman were not in the lineup. They should be back in the lineup here today. And not to mention the fact that on the other side, you have Walker Buehler, who hasn't been good himself either at all, at home or on the road. He's not only is he going only 3 or 4 innings, but he's giving up 3 runs as well. So I just have a hard time believing we don't see runs here today. It's going to be sunny and 75 like it always is in California today. I don't trust either one of these bullpens right now. I mean, I know that the Dodgers bullpen has been pitching better as of late and they're rested, but Orioles got to Kopech last night. They made him look kind of bad. Vesia went 26, not to mention the fact that I don't trust Evan Phillips or Daniel Hudson to save my life. And then on the Baltimore side as well, Dominguez, Cano, and Perez went 2 of the last 3 days. Dominguez and Dominguez and Cano haven't went 2 of the last 3 days, but Sir Anthony Dominguez went, 32 yesterday and Cano 16. So, and like I said, the Dodgers have seen them. So I just felt that over 8.5 was a little bit too good to pass up. It's still at 8.5. So I wouldn't lie to you. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's still at 8.5. Has me a little bit concerned. I'm not going to lie. So I did play it though.
I'll probably tail that with you later. But all right, let's get into some college football. Toast, have a good night, man. We'll do the community parlay at the end, by the way.
You're good. Go Cubs.
Go
Happy
Cubs.
Skeens Day.
Happy Skeens Day. So the first game, we're actually, let's get her on the screen. So we're talking about Jackson State, Louisiana Monroe first. And if you guys watch the show, you know that FCS, I don't know much about it. And speaking as someone that's tried to bet FCS games before, it's really hard to find people that are reliably cover it. So I'm bringing on SheeLovesThee. She has a channel where she covers the SWAC. So she's coming on to talk about the Jackson State, Louisiana Monroe game, which is actually tomorrow night. And we did a brief preview on Louisiana Monroe where we went through it a little bit. Things weren't looking that good for them. Jackson State's catching 8.5. Oh, also we got Scoop on the screen. Look, I don't know much about these two programs, specifically Jackson State. I don't follow it too closely. So right. Do you think you think we should take the points here?
Absolutely. ULM historically the last 4 years have been abysmal, and we're talking about 3-9, 4-8, 4-8, just not a good program. And then I looked, and the new coach is bringing in a lot of his talent from New Mexico. Their team wasn't that good last year either. It was like 4-8. And so he has a relatively new team. He did bring a lot, probably about maybe 10 to 15 players from New Mexico. But my premise is that the last time that Jackson State played ULM, we lost by 5 points. It was 12-7.
Oh, low scoring.
Very low scoring. Very, very heavy defensively, right? There was a lot of penalties. And, that was during the prime era. But I'm going to premise that the ULM, the type of players that they've been getting are also players that are in play at Jackson State. The coach, which is Coach T.C. Taylor, this is his second year as head coach, but he's been there since 2019. So it was kind of like the head coach took over, and we already have that continuity there. And then I looked at the quarterback, General Booty, right? And where are his stats?
I think
the only stats that I saw was from junior college, right?
Why do I remember? I'm thinking of John David Booty, I think.
That's probably his dad or his royalty.
They got to be related.
Didn't necessarily transfer over. He doesn't have any stats from his previous school that he transferred from. The one before that was junior college. He had, I think, 27 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. So he's passing out interceptions like Halloween candy. Last year, Jackson State ending the regular season as number 1 in interceptions in the FCS in the regular season. This is definitely going to be one of those types of games where I think defense comes into play, and also making sure I think it's going to be a low scoring game, right?
So
General Booty, he doesn't have that good like I haven't seen anything. Whereas our quarterback is Jacobian Morgan. He's a transfer from Syracuse. And he did play last season and he did relatively well. So my premise is I would definitely take the points.
All right, cool. All right, and if you think it's a low-scoring game, holding 8.5 points in the pocket, it always comes in handy. Put it up for me, too. I'm down. Scoop, I just threw this on Scoop. I was like, hey, Scoop, we're talking about Jackson State today. You want to come on? And he was like, sure. So I don't know if he's got a bet on the game or anything.
No, I'm actually going to kind of go to the other side. Not taking the other side. I'm taking Jackson State in the points, too. I'm just talking about ULM. Yeah, I mean, going winless in the Sun Belt is pretty impressive. 2-10 overall. I feel like actually these two teams are pretty comparable. I mean, ULM's still in a total rebuild mode. It'll take a while to get any kind of offense or defense going. They only averaged 17 points a game last year, 321 yards, which is pretty dreadful for a college football game. And they're returning 2 starters. So, yeah, I mean, they are returning they have the best quarterback, General Booty, which is the best name, I think, in college football ever. But,
and we're ready for it. We're ready.
Yeah.
Booty, rocking everywhere. The jokes are going to fly.
So, yeah, they haven't had – I mean, he was actually a recruit from Oklahoma, never saw the playing field, went to a junior college, played there. Now he's starting finally in the FBS, but – yeah, listen, they lost their 5 best tacklers on defense. There's no defensive lineman returning for ULM. I was saying that they haven't had any returner starting. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing they're not returning anyone because this game was really bad. They sucked last year. So I'm going to take a Jackson State team who was competitive last year, except for that one loss against Texas State. I think it was like 77-34.
Texas State was good, though.
And our special teams was injured during that game, and then it was abysmal. Like it was abysmal, but I will tell you this, special teams breakdown was atrocious, very much so atrocious. It was a breakdown of that accounted for at least 15 to probably 21 points was special teams breakdown.
Well, not to mention, I mean, that game was earlier in the season, and at the time that loss looked bad. Texas State turned out to be good as hell last year, and we didn't really know how good they were at the time. So looking back,
we still put like 30 points on Texas State.
77-34. What a
lunch over. 34 points.
I hope you had the over there. But yeah, no, they like I said, I mean, UL Monroe is basically an FCS team themselves. This shouldn't be anything but a close game. I actually think Jackson State can win this game outright.
Let's do it. So we're all on Jackson State. The poll, we're polling 63% to 12%. So everyone watching's taking we're a Jackson State program today. God, can you clear the pics out so everyone can see her Twitter handle? So what we're going to do, I'll send you a DM after because it's really hard to find people that cover the FCS. So maybe we'll schedule a time every week where you come on and we'll go through like the SWAC games or something because
not even just HBCU. I don't know if you guys watched that Hawaii versus Delaware State game.
Oh, we watched it.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
right?
Andy had a good pick there.
So it was interesting because that game was like at 1:00 at night and literally there's like 3,000 people watching it. And I'm like, why is there so many people watching it? And they bet they did not anticipate that Delaware State was going to cover that game. And it was like, what in the world is going on? So that was a great matchup as far as sports betting is concerned because a lot of people didn't pick the underdog for that.
No, we had a guy on our show that loved Hawaii and he looked like a fool. He's sitting right next to me, actually. All right, so we'll plan out a day. Maybe we'll do Wednesdays, or I'll send you a DM and we'll plan it out where you can let me know your like 5 games you want to talk about, and we'll set up a day. Because when I tell you, for the last couple of years, I've been trying to find reliable people that are able to talk about FCS games, and they're hard to find. So when you reached out and were like, "Hey, I saw your Louisiana Monroe video, really good job," like I followed back immediately and subscribed to your channel. Oh, she has a YouTube channel, by the way. She does daily stuff.
SheeLovesThee podcast. Yes, thank you for plugging me there.
Yeah, and it looks really legitimate too. I mean, she does a really good job. I checked out a couple of videos, like, oh shit, like someone legitimate reached out to me. So yeah, we'll definitely plan out like a weekly segment for it.
Yeah, I'm excited because I'm actually versed in sports betting a little bit, like parlays and stuff like that. So definitely something that we should continue. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll send you a message later.
All right.
All right. Andy's coming on the screen, and what's next? Penn State, West Virginia.
Yeah, our expertise stops at SWAC basketball, I think, with Grambling State and everything. But I don't know much about the SWAC for football.
No, she has like guests on
there.
All right. What are we doing? What are we doing? Penn State, West Virginia. We're bringing Lil Drew on.
Lil Drew.
All right, Penn State, West Virginia. Just a second. Let me get my notes settled. I can't believe that. By the way, I'm going back to it. I haven't bet it yet, but for those of you that watched the show last year, you know that we lost on this exact bet in this exact game last year. So in the Penn State West Virginia game last year, I took the under 48. I also had West Virginia plus 20.5. I split my money on that game. If you don't remember that game, it was 31-16 Penn State. Game was over. Penn State had the ball. Instead of kneeling on it, they run a meaningless touchdown in to cover and go over the total. So James Franklin, with 6 seconds left, called a running play from 1st and goal on the 8 when a knee would have ended it. So he was literally, it was like somebody playing a video game, just like literally trying to score and get down the field when a knee, it was crazy. And Dr. Honey too. So yes, I went, but I think the under is the move here. So you can put up under for me. I want to go through my notes, but I just have to take a piss real quick. So you guys talk for a second. I'll be right back.
You can go, Andy. If you are not muted and stuff. I think you might be muted.
Sorry, I'm damn near about to flip out on ESPN. My fantasy account and my whole ESPN account is locked before college football starts.
You were not okay.
Yes, I was. All right, whatever. Yeah, I'm about to flip out, but yeah, I'm excited for this game. It's gonna be a great game. I know. I don't know if he wants to start talking about the game yet, but I'm all in on West Virginia this year. I think this team's going to be great. I think they're going to be able to run on any opponent, even Penn State, who has one of the best rush defenses in the country. And a lot of them are coming back. I don't care. This is one of the top 5 rushing attacks in the nation. They're returning everybody. Their quarterback can run. So I think I don't know what he's leaning. Actually, I do know what he's leaning, but I'm on West Virginia in this game, and I'm also probably going to take an under because I think it's going to be a quick game. A lot of the clock's going to be running the whole time. Both teams want to run, so I love West Virginia, man.
Yeah, I'm actually on the other side here. I mean, I love Garrett Green. I just don't know how he's going to be able to keep this game close personally. Penn State won this game, 38-15 last year. I don't think the talent's gotten that much closer. The Lions have definitely gotten better on both sides of the ball for West Virginia. I'm really excited to watch this one like you on Saturday. I mean, the line keeps coming down, I think. I still really like Penn State. West Virginia was 82nd in EPA per play last year. I think Koloniki from Kansas and Buffalo has run great offenses, so I like Alar running his offense for sure. I think he's probably the second best quarterback in this conference next to Gabriel, obviously, from Oregon. Their defensive line, though, Andy, is one of the best in the country. Do you agree with that one?
Yeah. Did I miss Andy glazing West Virginia, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So what Andy probably spewed a bunch of bullshit about their rushing attack, right? It's not that he's wrong. They're gonna have a top 10, top 15 rushing attack this year. This is the best defensive line in football. This is the best run defense in college football last year in Penn State. So it's not that I think he's wrong that West Virginia's rushing attack isn't going to be badass. I mean, they brought their running backs back. They brought their quarterback back who rushed for like 800 yards. Their offensive line, their offensive line, just 3 starters back. 3 starters back. So the offensive line, maybe there's some new faces. And if anything, that's the spot you need to be the most sure of. Against Penn State, defense travels. The number 1 run defense in college football is going to travel. So it's not that I think Andy's take on West Virginia is wrong. It's just there's no way you can count on. There's no, did you watch Penn State football last year? You can't count on anybody running the ball on Penn State. Michigan couldn't run the ball on Penn State, dude. No.
Yeah, I'll back it up. I was just saying D-line's one of the best in the country. I think their linebackers and DBs are in the top 10 themselves. This team was plus 16 in turnovers last year. I think this Penn State team is actually going to the Big Ten championship personally against Oregon, leaving Ohio State on the outside, looking in, assuming they beat Ohio State at home. So I think West Virginia is going to have a really solid season. I think they're going to improve a lot. They do have one of the toughest Big 12 schedules, but they have two solid running backs. Their wide receiver core stayed. I just think a full game against Penn State, even at home, running the ball is going to be a really difficult one. So I like Penn State.
I kind of wanted to look at Penn State also. Can we do a quick poll for West Virginia, Penn State, Prop Beaver? I kind of wanted to see, is everyone betting West Virginia here? I know a lot of people. I've talked to a few people that are betting West Virginia here, but one of them's Andy, so consider the source.
Yeah, he doesn't think Stanford has a good run line. So
he also liked Hawaii.
and yeah,
I really can't.
That'll never ever end. The Hawaii that'll be mentioned for years. Minus 40.5.
I might bet him again this week.
All right, we're just gonna run this poll for like 10 seconds. I just want to get a feel for what you guys, the viewers, are betting. So we're just gonna run it for like literally 15 Mississippi, because I was actually curious of what the results of this poll were gonna be. Kind of trying to get a feel. I don't even know like what the quote unquote public side would be here.
Most of the bets are on Penn State, but I don't see any money yet.
All right, looks like. See, yeah, our poll's pretty split as well. 53%. Yeah, so there isn't really that. Okay, no, it looks like Penn State is winning this poll. It's only 23 votes that I'm looking at, so not a large sample size at all. But I was curious about how you guys are feeling. So, all right, looks like the action is coming in on Penn State. Well, whatever. All right, next up, Van den Bosch says 24-20 West Virginia money line. Van den Bosch.
Was that like plus 300?
I'll glance at it for Van den Bosch.
Van den Bosch.
He gives out some sharp stuff. I'll look at plus 250. I'm good on that. All right. Kent State Pitt. All right, guys. I know last year we talked a lot of shit about Kent State. We had some good laughs that we still enjoy today. But I think this is I think we could put last year in the past. Look, I don't really know what I think about the quarterback, Ulatowski. I mean, it's not like he looked great last year. I actually think he completed less than 50% of his passes when he was on the field. So it's not like, oh, well, we're good at quarterback. We're probably not. But
he's not even starting.
Is he not yet? That's I was just about to say. Like, I don't even know.
They actually, to this morning, they said Holstein and Yarnell is going to split this game at quarterback.
Wait, what?
For Pittsburgh, I mean.
I'm talking about Kent State.
Oh,
no, Pitt is splitting quarterback, but also
quarterback time.
Kent State's quarterback is Devin Cargman.
Yeah, Devin.
It's not Ulatowski.
Cargman.
No. It was supposed to be Ulatowski.
Yeah, it's not.
When did they announce?
Well,
that?
Cargman is a New Jersey product, so I mean, as a New Jersey product, he's going to be good.
Well, okay, so so Carter starting quarterback for Penn State. Whatever. My whole point was I don't care who's playing quarterback because I was getting to the RB1's back. And Kai Thomas missed all of last year with an injury. So they actually have two RBs in the backfield that are better than what they had last year because the RB1 gets a year experience, and they bring the guy that was supposed to be in the unit last year. The wide receiver 1 is back. Andy, Big Play McCray.
Yeah, love Big Play McCray.
Big Play McCray is back at wide receiver. 4 starters on the offensive line are back. 3 of them were freshmen last year. 3 of the top 5 defensive linemen are back. I mean, Kent State is branded as one of the worst teams in the FBS because they were last year, but they bring back so much production. And okay. So I haven't bet this one yet. I'm looking at Kent State team total over. So actually, let me get the number because I'm down to bet this. This isn't a lean. I'm down to bet this with you guys right now. But let me pull it up and I'll explain exactly why. Kent State. Where the heck's Kent State?
I'll talk while you say it. Oh yeah, this Pitt team was so bad last year. So, and part of it was for the fact they had 12 different lineups on the offensive line. So 12 games, 12 different lines. They give Yarnell no time. They already said, like I said, they're splitting time at QB in the first game. I already hate that. And Cade Bell comes in. He's 31 years old as an offensive coordinator. So, I mean, they're going to go to a spread offense, but it's still a big jump from a Western Carolina FCS school to the ACC. Especially at 31 years old. So defensively, they're only returning 4 starters here. For Pitt, they don't really have any experience on the defensive tackle position, and they lost their defensive line coach. So Like you said, Kai Thomas is going to run all over that line.
Exactly.
They're going to have a lot of chances. So they have a shaky corner squad. Kent State sucks. They suck. And then I'm not going to say they're great.
It's 14
they're gonna
and
start,
a half.
They're going to start Cargman a limited time. But the good thing, like I said, they have a lot of their returning offense. Kai Thomas, most of their O-line's back. Defensively, they're going to be an improvement. They're probably still a year away from like competing realistically. But yeah, I'm leaning towards Kent State here, regardless of it being in Pitt.
So Kent State team total over 14 and a half, and Scoop touched on it. But basically, 4 of the 5 starters are back for the Kent State offensive line. 2 RBs back that are better what they had last year. Against a Pitt team who, like Scoop said, just lost their D-line coach. All 4 starters on the defensive line gone, and just 1 linebacker back. So, yeah, Kent State should be able to run the ball in this game. Now, the reason I'm not taking the plus 24 and I'm taking the team total over 14 and a half is I don't think it's crazy that Kent State's defense gets absolutely ripped to shreds here. So I think that's very possible. So I would go either over or Kent State team total over 14 and a half. And honestly, I'm going to bet this. I'm going to bet Kent State over team total over 14 and a half. I'll tell you right. I didn't bet it yet, but I will be. You can take my word on that. I'll be on this.
Yeah, I'm leaning with you guys. I think the cover is the best play with the spread. I'm gonna go with the over. I think it's a risk. When I take overs, I like there to be a quarterback that I trust. There's no quarterback I trust in this game. Neither situation is strong.
Darnell's not bad, bro.
Yeah, but it's not one that I'd be like, I 100% trust. I could see him having a bad game. Same thing with Kent State. I don't know what the hell is going over there. So I like to have a quarterback that can kind of guide me to this over. There isn't one here. I just think both teams will be able to run to the point where I think I'll get my over and score. If he gets his team total over and Pitt still has 30, I think I can get this pretty easily. So I'm gonna just lean over here, but I'm not even 100% sure I'll bet this one.
All right, next game. We have a good one. Isn't Miami, Florida next?
Yeah.
So I had a change of heart in this one, Scoop. Did you see the bet I placed in the Discord?
Yeah, I saw it.
You don't like it?
The over?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Oh,
I'm not.
okay.
I'm actually.
You're on Miami.
Side. I'm on Miami. Yeah.
Yeah, Andy is too.
I mean, the anointing of Miami being back was too early last year, but this year I think they have a shot to winning the ACC. I like them more than Florida State and Clemson. You're welcome, Beaver. Yeah, this is the best offense, Cristobal's had in 3 years. Cam Ward comes over from Washington State. Great quarterback as long as he protects the ball. He had like 13 fumbles last year, so he's got to clean that up. But I hate futures, and I put money on him to win the Heisman at plus 1,500. I mean, other than him, they got a bunch of great transfers in the portal. Carpenter, Powell, Martinez, Brown, Clark, all starters on other teams. I can't back Florida right now. Last year, they had 3 interceptions all year. Cam Ward's going to shred that defense. Florida's defense is just not good. They struggled against the run. Martinez from Oregon State should help Cam Ward. I'm not saying Mertz isn't a bad quarterback at all for Florida. He takes care of the ball. He only had 3 interceptions. I don't think they have any kind of explosive kind of offense. I mean, Miami's secondary is not that much better, which I can see you obviously taking the over, which makes sense. But I think the ground game is going to be beyond for Miami. Florida State's run defense is god awful, and
hold on, the run defense is going to be improved, bro. That defense
improved, but the swamp doesn't scare me right now. If this was more, maybe I would back, but I can't take less than a field goal with Miami. So
it's not necessarily that I think Miami's going to run the ball here. I think both quarterbacks are going to do whatever the fuck they want in this game. First of all, Graham Mertz gets kind of a bad rap. There were instances where he looked really good last year. He didn't get a ton of help from the Florida defense. Didn't really the running game was there for most of the season. At times it disappeared, but Florida's offense looks – I don't really need to tell you why Miami's offense looks good. I'm sure you've heard it all offseason. Upgraded at quarterback, running back, Miami has 3 solid, good-ass wide receivers. Miami's offense is loaded. I don't have to sell you on that. On the other side, Florida's offense looks pretty good as well. 4 starters back on the offensive line. Graham Mertz is back, veteran quarterback. Montrell Johnson is back at running back. Yeah, Etienne's gone, but Montrell Johnson's the main guy there. He's a great back. Miami's defensive line. Yes, they were excellent against the run last year. Couple of the main pieces this year built through the portal. Might take a week or two for them to gel. But mostly, the Miami secondary lost 3 major pieces. The 3 best pieces of the Miami secondary gone, all drafted to the NFL. 3 NFL players removed from the Miami secondary, and I think Florida's going to be able to throw the ball. So at 54.5, I think we're looking at a shootout, honestly. So yeah, I bet I got a 54, I believe though. So, but yeah, I'm in on the over here. Next.
Yeah, I'm 100% on the over here as
bad.
well. No, you're good. This is a pain in the ass, the muting it. Yeah, I'm on the over as well. I think both quarterbacks are going to get what they want here. Graham Mertz is very underrated now. I think last year he came in and I kind of thought he was being overrated. Now I think he's being underrated. He had one of the best years of a quarterback last year, over a 70% completion percentage, and they have weapons now. They did lose weapons, but they also have weapons. They're Florida. They always have receivers. And obviously I love this Miami team. I think they're winning the ACC as well. Cam Ward, I told you, I don't know if it's very easy for anybody to stop him, let alone Florida, who I don't think has the coaching. Their defense is fine, but they're still not up to the level of the Miami offense. And I also love the running back situation at Miami. I've been clear about that. So I love both of these offenses in this game, not really the defenses. And also, I think the reason that I'd lean Miami is because I think they're going to have the coaching advantage, and that's unbelievable to say from Ariel Cristobal, but I think he's just a better coach, and they have the advantage there.
You can't listen. He has such a hatred for Billy Napier.
I don't dislike Billy Napier. I just know for a fact he's a bad football coach in the SEC. That's it. Since he got there, they've made terrible decisions.
I think they were great picks, Sandy. Good job.
Thank you.
On that one.
Yeah. Next up. By the way, I'm not touching Miami. I used to think Florida's live. Eastern Michigan, UMass, and let me tell you, we have a diehard UMass fan on the show. His name's Andy. Loves this UMass team. So go ahead, Andy. Tell us why UMass is the move here. Why are you on the Minutemen?
Yeah, I really like UMass this year. I think their over-under was 4.5. I think I have them at 5, which is, wouldn't be crazy, but 5 wins for UMass would be crazy. But coming into this one, they're facing a really bad team. I mean, Eastern Michigan's really bad. They're going to be toward the bottom of the MAC again. But I like UMass's offense. They're very veteran-laden. Now, at running back, they have young guys they really like, but they're always strong at running back. UMass is always a strong running team. But I think they're going to try to throw the ball a lot this year, and I think they have the quarterback for it. I don't remember how to say his name. His first name's Tyson. Let's just call him that. Fomashon. Yeah. Okay. I remember how to say it. But I'm a huge fan of him. Now he's gotten into the system a little bit. Don Brown runs more of a running system, but looks like they're going to throw the ball more this year. They have some weapons for him, but this is a home game against a bad team in Eastern Michigan to start the year, a team with veterans on it. I like everything about this UMass team. Also veteran coaching as well, which helps a ton coming into a season. While Eastern Michigan's not necessarily a strong team and a strong opponent, this is going to be a conference matchup next year, which is why the game's being played, but at home against a bad team. I really like UMass here.
Scoop, are you with them?
No, I'm actually on the other side. UMass is UConn basically, but with a better quarterback. He's actually Parmesan's Parmesan. Parmesan's actually a very high recruit. He was mediocre last year. This is probably the only FBS game they're going to be favored in because they have games against Central Connecticut State, Wagner. But this team added 8 wide receiver transfers, most in the nation. Since UMass moved to the FBS, they're 24-112. Their best season is 4-8. That's it. So that over 4.5, it would be their best ever. It may be time to go back to the FCS. Instead, next year they're going to the MAC. So crazy they're favored here, but I think that's because obviously Eastern Michigan, they have a new quarterback, new running back, and top wide receiver's gone. And 3 starting offensive linemen. But even with that, it's hard for me to take UMass in any game. Cole Snyder's a competent quarterback, ex-Rutgers player, so he's elite. He actually was great in Buffalo in 2022, so he should get closer to his 2022 numbers, I think. Mims is the running back from NC State, didn't get much time. Linebackers are going to be weaker than last year with Klein and Spracio gone, but really, I trust this MAC team more than UMass, but UMass gave up 428 points per game. Total last year. 42.8 points per game last year. And even though Eastern Michigan was last in offensive output in the MAC, I think they're going to do well here. So UMass lost their last 8 games against the MAC. We know the MAC's all about points. Even Eastern Michigan's shitty offense is going to do good. Also, the funny stat is UMass's last 33 FBS games, they've been losing 30 of them at half. So I don't know. You might want to look at the halftime line there.
Yeah, but Here, I would lean towards Andy's side. I'm not going to bet this mess, but I would lean towards Andy's side for the simple fact that people are going to look and see that Eastern Michigan is a 6-7 team that played in a bowl game last year. That is not an accurate description of what this team was. They might have been the worst team to play in a bowl game in the history of the FBS, honestly. Like, they had no business playing in the bowl game. What was their best win? Like, home against Akron? It was crazy. So, for the simple fact of fading this team that just got lucky week after week last year, I'll be on UMass too. I don't know. I think I'm going to bet it. Next game.
Minutemen.
Ohio, Syracuse. All right. We talked about both these teams already in the preview, but we haven't talked about this game specifically. I know everyone is down on Ohio right now, and I mean, they have good reason to be. This team was powered by its defense last year, and its defense got gutted. I mean, the defense that was there last year is gone. But here's the thing. I actually think this Ohio offense is going to be able to run the football. I know everyone's seeing that Curtis Rourke, the quarterback, is gone, and the wide receivers are gone. And they're like, oh, this offense is going to suck. But no, this offense is just going to have a new identity. They like their running back room. They've got 3 starters on the offensive line back. They've got 7 of their top 10 offensive linemen back. I think Ohio's going to be able to run the ball. And you know what? We saw a preview of it in the bowl game against, who was that? Who they play in the bowl game? South Alabama. Against South Alabama. Oh, no, it wasn't South Alabama. Georgia Southern. It was Georgia Southern. Because I bet Georgia Southern in the game. I was like, oh, they don't have their quarterback. There's no way Ohio's going to be able to move football. They rushed for like 260 yards in the game. So they gave us a preview of what their offense is going to be. And I think they're going to be able to run the football here on Syracuse, who, I mean, their defensive front is cooked. Their defensive line is completely gone. Their top 3 linebackers, gone. Their defensive coordinator, gone. I mean, I'm sorry. Their defensive line is gone. They bring their linebackers back. My bad. But their defensive line is gone, and you got an Ohio team that thinks they're going to be able to run the football. So, do we take the 17.5 with Ohio, or do we take Ohio team total over and make the same play we did in the Kent State game? I'm down to bet this. I haven't yet. What do you guys think?
I didn't really have a big side with this. I would take Syracuse just because of what you said with them losing everyone. I know they rebuild pretty quick for Ohio. He does, a great job recruiting, but I mean, their top running back went to Minnesota. CJ Harris was going to fill in for Rourke, and he transferred to Cal. So Ricky Hunt had 5 touchdowns in that bowl, but I know it's a meaningless bowl game, so you can't really look much into that. So, but I mean, the top 6 receivers are gone. They're restarting O-line. They have a new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. Yeah, I mean, if this was last year's Ohio team playing Syracuse, I think this line is all the way down to like 6, honestly. So the Syracuse game is going to take a huge step forward. I know Kyle McCord from Ohio State's a huge jump in quality for them. Allen returns. I was all ACC last year. Fran Brown. The thing I'm worried about with Syracuse is Fran Brown makes a jump from a DB coach all the way to the head coach of Syracuse. I know he's an awesome recruiter. He's got a great class for 2025 coming in, but I don't really trust him as a coach right now. Didn't see what he's done. He hasn't even been a coordinator before. So I would lean laying 17.5 with Syracuse, but actually saying it in my head makes me seem like an idiot. So laying 17.5 with Syracuse is just nuts. So yeah, I don't know. I really don't have a side, but I guess I would lean that way.
You can get the Ohio team total over at 13.5 right now. 13.5. Syracuse defensive line is gone. Their DC is gone. Andy, you co-signing that?
Sorry, I'm waiting for him to unmute it. Yeah, I'm drilling Ohio in this one. Wait, that sounded
drilling
weird.
Ohio.
Yeah, that sounded really weird. Forget I said that, but I'm all in on Ohio here. I'm all in on Ohio here. I think they're going to be able to run the ball like crazy. Ricky Hunt's one of the best running backs in the MAC. I mean, I don't think that's a question. I know you said it was just a bowl game, but 5 rushing touchdowns, and he had a sick game. He's young. I think that's only going to carry over. And that's what I'm worried about for Syracuse. I don't love this defensive front. I think they're going to be able to be run on. I think Ohio is a terrible matchup for them. When we were going through the schedule for them during the previews, we both said there's a lot of games where this team can get run on, and this is the first one. So I think that this is going to be a close, boring game.
True or false? Bobcats are live.
Yeah, I said that when we did it. I would not be surprised if them or Miami of Ohio are to pull upsets this week, because these are games where Northwestern's coming
What's the money line?
Plus 680, plus 700
nice.
You could get.
I'm just saying, Syracuse is coming in. They all love their coach. It's great. New era. You don't think there's hype, but there will be hype when they get to the stadium on Saturday, and it's a new era, and everybody loves them. But then they have to go up against an opponent who is good at the one thing that they're not great at, which is stopping the run. So I think it's a perfect scenario where they could win this game. Now, you're probably crazy to take plus 680, right? Nobody's going to actually listen to you and you sound like a nut. But it happens every year where there's a week 1 team we don't expect to win. And Miami of Ohio is getting a... Yeah, Miami of Ohio is a perfect example. They're 3-point underdogs, 2.5. I already bet them. They're plus 120. But I'm not surprised if Ohio wins as well here. So, I love this Ohio matchup.
I'm not taking the money line, but I'd be down to either Ohio.
It's crazy that you guys are so in on Ohio. Like, I didn't expect that.
I think it's
also
lack
just
of
down. I don't like how Syracuse.
You don't like Syracuse? Yeah.
I don't like Syracuse defense with a brand new defensive line and a new defensive coordinator on week 1 against a team that's going to run the football.
Listen, I lean Syracuse, but I love the Max. So if you want me to bet plus 680 on a money line, I'll do that. So
you don't got to tug my leg. All right, that's the last game. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be back same time tomorrow. Yeah.